Hey there. This is James Ferber coming to you, and I'm going to share a little motivation and encouragement this morning. And I'm going to read to you a story out of Matthew 14, verses 22 to 32, and just want to share a little something that God's been challenging me with, and hopefully this will encourage and be something that'll help you in these next couple of weeks, as the world around us is drastically different than it was 2 weeks ago, and there's so much happening. There's just so much going on. It feels like every day there is a ton of new news, and I know I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with everything, and I was really struggling with just this feeling of fear that would come over me sometimes after I read the news. And God was kind of challenging me with something that I'm going to share with you about in this story. So, starting in verse 22 of Matthew 14. Immediately Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in terror. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came forward toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So in the story here, we find disciples are having a rough go of it in the boat. Jesus is walking by, unaffected by the storm, and just kind of walking over the whole thing. And they're terrified. And Peter's like, Lord, if it's you, call me to come to you." And Jesus does. And then this is the part that really struck me. He was doing fine. He was walking on the water. He was doing exactly what Jesus was doing until he saw the wind and he looked at it, and the fear grew. That's why Jesus said, "Don't be afraid." The fear grew, got a hold of him. And so what I want to encourage everyone with is don't look and listen to the wind. And what I mean by that is there's so much going on around us. There's fear, there's chaos, there's crazy stories, there's horrible things happening. And those are the things that get reported. Those are the things the media highlights. There's also good happening. And there's also God is at work and he's speaking. So what I want to encourage you this season is not to get caught up in the wind. Maybe means you have to limit how much you check the news, maybe not at all. But we need to use this time to focus in on each other and on Jesus. And when we keep our eyes on him and we listen to his voice and we read his word and spend our time in prayer with him, his voice starts to drown out those other voices. His voice is the one we start to hear, and then fear is gone. Fear will leave. And so my encouragement is don't look or listen to the wind. And a song you can maybe play as a follow-up to this is Zach Williams' song, "Fear is a Liar." So God bless, and I look forward to connecting with more of you during this time.